Right, so I just waited for a race before doing this video to start it, so I could talk you through while you enjoyed watching a race. The good old Forza Motorsport, in the current state it's in, as soon as the race started, it just crashed out using the Xbox Series S. So I'm just started up again, and we'll just practice for this race, and I'll go through the Thrustmaster T128, how I got it, what I think to it, what I had before, and just let you know my thoughts. So let's get through this. Hopefully start it up and do some practicing and chat away. We're in control. So how I ended up getting the T128 was I've only been into sim racing about 3 weeks, and someone on my housing estate was selling this table with a Ferrari 458 Spider wheel, one of them non-force feedback wheels, and they were selling it for 50 quid, and the table alone is £100 and the wheels are £100. So I thought, oh, bag, and I've always enjoyed racing games, I'll see what it's like with a wheel. So I got that, and I was having a really good time, and I was telling my friend about it and saying, oh look, I've got this wheel and this table and stuff, and it's just so much fun. And he said, actually, I've got a Logitech G920 wheel that I just don't use anymore. You can borrow it for as long as you like if you want. So I said, oh, that'd be great. So I got that, and I've been using that for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. And that's been really good. But obviously with it being his steering wheel, felt a bit bad using something that was quite expensive, and I didn't want to damage it. I felt like making sure none of the cables get trapped all the time, just being super careful with it. So I thought I need to get my own, and it was between this, get another G920 or the T248. But after I've only been in it, well, doing it for a couple of weeks, I didn't want to really spend £300 on a wheel. I wanted to see if I enjoyed it, and what I liked about this wheel was, if I do enjoy it, I can upgrade the pedals and have the same as a T248. So I thought, in the long run, if it's something I decide to keep and want to do, then it might be worth getting the T128 and seeing how it goes, and that's what I've done. So going from the G920 to the T128 has actually been a nice change, which I honestly did not expect. There's a couple of negatives that we'll get to, but the positives probably outweigh the negatives. The force feedback is so much smoother. I think the G920 is kind of being made a bit redundant by the G923, if I'm correct, which has the Logitech's version of the better force feedback. So it's getting a bit outdated, that steering wheel now, in terms of the force feedback it provides. And when I read about the T128, people were saying the force feedback's generally better on this, because I think the G920 is a geared steering wheel, or has gears, and this is like belt-driven in gears, if I'm correct. But the feeling through the steering wheel, you get a lot more sensation than you do through the G920. It's just like you feel all the small bumps, you feel the rumble patches on the side of the track, and it's made me drive so much better. In the G920, because I didn't really have that feel, or when it did, saying drive better, look at me, when you did have that where you would turn in a corner and the car would swing away from you and it started to skid, it felt like it would just snap in and out, and then you just end up losing control of the car. And I haven't changed any settings, I've not put any more assists on or anything like that. It just feels a lot easier to drive. I can feel everything that's going on with it, and like I say, it's a lot more subtle, but in a really good way. You're not constantly fighting a wheel that's just shaking about for the sake of shaking about. It's doing its job well. Construction wise, as you can see, it's all plastic, which doesn't really bother me as such. I don't really mind that, you know, for what I paid for it, which was, you know, around the £150 mark. I honestly don't think the construction's bad. I tell you what I do think feels better is the shifter paddles. They're nice and quieter, they're not really clicky, and they feel really well made. So along with the force feedback, you know, it's already impressing me in terms of the actual quality of the wheel. The size of the wheel is a little small, but I certainly haven't noticed it as much as I thought I would have done. I thought that might be something that actually made me send the wheel back, because I didn't want it to feel too toy-like or too gimmicky. But actually it feels really nice. And what I'm going to do later is I've ordered from Amazon is some bar wrap tape that you put on your, you know, your push bikes around, you know, the road bike handlebars, and I'm going to wrap the sides of the wheel in that, and then that should give it like a rubber grip either side, and I'm hoping that's going to be a really nice little hack to make the wheel feel premium for about £8. Another thing that I'm really impressed with is these LED lights. As you can see, they're flashing away now. They are just really useful. I saw a video say how there was a big gimmicky because if they're not in your line of eyesight and stuff, you don't really use them. But when they're flashing, you seriously see that they're there, especially if you're playing in, you know, a dark room or a night time or whatever. It really helps. And Forza's, I'm playing Forza Motorsport at the moment. Forza is not the best with it in terms of there's still, when it starts to flash, it's still further to go with the car. You know, you can take it to higher revs, but it's still really nice to have. And I tried it on ACC, Assetto Corsa Competition, and it works perfectly on that. And also F1 2023 I tried on, and it works perfectly on that. It's like literally matches the rev counter on the games. So again, for a wheel that's around £150, it's a really nice little feature to have. The buttons feel nice, you know, when you're going through. Again, I was really scared it was going to be, scared is probably too much of a word, but I was concerned that it was going to be, you know, like buying something out of a bargain bin and the buttons were just going to feel really horrible and cheap. But no, they feel really nice when you're going through the menus. I know everyone's probably waiting for me to get to the pedals and see what I think of the pedals, so I'll crack on and talk about them now. As I've mentioned, I've already said that if I really got into it in a couple of months' time, I'd upgrade the pedals. And the main reason for that is actually I'm getting on with them really fine. And I think it's probably because I haven't had the better things in life. I've come from the G920, which has a nice pedal set, but the brake pedal on that G920 is just crazy. You've got to like push yourself out the seat to get full brake on. And I spoke to my friend about it and said, oh look, is the brake pedal meant to be this high? And he said, yeah, like if you go through the internet, everyone seems to have this kind of problem with it. You've got to go into your settings and change, you know, the sensitivity of the brake in the actual game. So we did that, and obviously it made it loads better. And we just kind of carried on with it. And it wasn't until I got this and realised, you know, when you don't have that much of a stiff brake pedal, how much you can just kind of like throw the car around and brake at the last minute to try and get around corners. So I actually don't mind these pedals. They do feel light, they do feel plasticky. I really wish that they'd put a stronger spring in the brake pedal, because it is a little bit, you know, too easy to push down. But saying that, I'm guessing this price point is also going to be aimed at, you know, parents buying it for kids' Christmas presents to go with a new console, or, you know, to go with a new game. So it has to be light enough that a child can push it down. You know, and I'm a 6'2", 13 stone blower, and I was struggling to push the G920 pedal down. So it's actually a nice change, and my racing is seriously, I'm not saying I'm a good racer, but it's seriously made me more competitive in online racing from being able to use a full extension of the brake pedal. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I just wish they had a stronger spring in them and a little bit, some grippy surface on the pedals. But for right now, I actually don't think I'm going to change them. And all the comments that say about, you know, don't get a T128, the pedals are just really pants. Well, I'm completely sure that they are. If you're a sim racer who's got a proper setup, or you know, has already had some of the finer things in life, I'm sure they do feel extremely naff. But for someone like me who's just getting into it, I mean, I could have fun on this all day, you know, if I didn't have a job and a wife and a child. You know, it could be something that just starts you off into the hobby. So yeah, so to wrap it up, I'm honestly really impressed with the wheel. If someone said to me you have to choose between the G920, which is £100 more than this, or this, I would honestly choose this. I think the force feedback just feels so much nicer. I think having the LED indicators feels nicer. I'm hoping that when I put the bar tape around the end of the wheel, it just takes the edge off that little plasticky feeling of it. But yeah, I am really impressed so far. It's a bad corner. I am really impressed so far with the wheel, and I'm hoping it does me, unless I get seriously into it, you know, for at least the next year or so. And it's nice and quiet and doesn't wake anyone up at night, so that's my review anyway so far. I might do another video if I when I put the bar wrap on, and just make a very quick video saying how it feels and if it's made a significant difference. But for everyone who's considering buying this, I would say go ahead. The reviews on Facebook or Reddit or the internet in general honestly don't do it justice. I think the reviews are coming from people who are used to having thousands of pounds worth of equipment, but to have this kind of setup in your own home is just great. How much have I spent on this? I spent £50 on the table with a wheel, but even if you discount that wheel, it's about £220, £200? Yeah, roughly £200 to get this kind of simulation effect playing against online players. You can't really beat it. Definitely the gateway into it. Let's just hope I don't get too into it, otherwise you can see that the bank balance could quickly go down. Right, thanks for watching. I'll probably end it here. But like I say, if you're considering it, go get it. It's a decent little wheel, and I'm coming straight from the G920, and I honestly would prefer to have this. Right, thanks for watching.